Do you want to find your person? Today, we are going to talk about how to find your person in this trash dating environment. Go ahead and cue my theme music. Hey, Rebel. Welcome to Untoxify Your Relationship. Here, we will talk about all things healthy and how to get that toxic mess out of you and your partnership. I'm your host, Melissa Webb, a practicing licensed mental health therapist with 10 years experience. All right, let's go ahead and hop into it. So this week, I was a guest on the Dominique Chantel Show. If you don't know who she is pretty dope. What she does is she teaches you how to create the life you deserve by loving yourself and being highly intentional by using biblical principles. She's also an author. She wrote the book Let Love Be Your Guide, Volume 1. That means it's more volumes coming. And she works with Christian women and help them through divorce and other things and use biblical principles. So this week I was on her show and we talked about how to find your person. And let me tell y'all, it is a good episode. So you guys are in for a treat. All right, go ahead and take a listen.
Welcome back to another episode of the Dominique Chantel Show. Listen, today I have a very special friend with me. We went to college together. Her name is therapist Melissa Webb. But let me tell you a little bit about Melissa before we get into the episode. Melissa is a professional counselor with 10 years of experience in the mental health field. Her mission is to raise awareness about mental health and how to have healthier relationships in the Christian community. She does this through therapy, speaking engagements, and hosting her own podcast called Untoxify Your Relationship. So welcome to the show, Melissa.
Thank you.
How are you?
Hey girl, Mizzou.
It is so great to see you. It's so great to have you on the show.
Thank
I
you for having me.
Absolutely. When I was thinking about this episode of how to find your person, I said, I know who I can call, Melissa. So, because listen, girl, I'm trying to find my person, and I've actually signed up to your through your website for your email series, and where you talk about boundaries, and so it's been really helping me, and your stories. So I appreciate it. So today, y'all, we are going to be talking about how to find your person. We know that relationships are sometimes the most complicated, and we all want to find that person, right? We want to find a person to live the rest of our lives with. So how do we find that perfect partner? So today, Melissa is going to help us out and see if she can share her wisdom and knowledge with us as being a therapist.
Okay.
So, Melissa, I wanted to start off by saying, what's the first step that a person should take in finding their person?
First step is to pray. It's to pray.
Mm,
You need to pray and ask God, is this my season to be
mm,
dating? Or is this my season just to be single? Right? Because even in our single season, we need to get aligned with God. And when we get aligned with God, then He can tell us, yeah, girl, it's just your season. Let's get out there, or I'm about to send you a mate, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like the first thing people need to do is to pray and really get in alignment with God and get in agreement with Him so He can tell you how to move forward.
wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
That that's amazing because I think we think about prayer, but in terms of like other things in our life, right? So
Hmm.
why not again? If we are Christians, we
Yeah.
should be praying and seeking God. So
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. In every area of our lives. So with prayer, so say we've been praying, right? And he says, like, okay, this is your season to find that person, like you
Hmm.
can date, you know. Um, what should we do next after prayer?
What should we do after prayer? Well, I always tell people you can't go date if you don't have a plan. I feel like a lot of times people go out here and they just start dating. They get on the sites, they go out here to the club, they looking all fly, going to Trader Joe's, and they know they want a person. But I think when it gets down to the nitty gritty, once they start going on dates, it's just like, wait, I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that. And they're going into it without a plan. So what I tell the people who I work with one on one is let's make a plan. So that is, what do you need? What do you want? And what are the red flags? So the needs are like, I don't know, like a sundae, right? Like an ice cream sundae. Like you need the ice cream. That's the need.
Right, right.
The toppings on top of an ice cream sundae is the want. So like the sprinkles, you want caramel
Mm,
sauce? Do you want chocolate sauce? You want a banana on the side? Like that's what that is. And then the red flags and stuff that you don't want on your sundae. So that's asparagus, broccoli, like stuff like that. Stuff that we don't want on ice cream, right?
Right,
And so if you think of it that way and you create this plan to go out here and start dating, it'll be easy to eliminate people. So if you go out on your first date, you say, oh, that's a red flag. Yeah, that's one of my red flags. Not society's red flags, which those are real too. But
right.
also we have our individual red flags that we don't like. I had one person say, I don't want nobody to be cheap. That's a red flag. Say less, because
Right,
she
right,
makes a nice amount of money. And she was like,
right.
I don't want a cheap man. That's my red flag. Okay, cool, girl, put it down. Right. So now when she go out there and date someone's being cheap, she said, don't want that. But wasn't until she started writing down a plan that she started to say, oh snap, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. Okay, now I can go out here and go ahead and find my person based off this plan. Now, even and this plan is changing, it's ever changing. You may go out there, you may say, maybe I'm okay with a cheap man. He looks cute. I can be okay with a cheap man. Okay, move it up to your wants, right?
Right.
like you can move it around, but I would just say don't really budge on some of those things where you just like, I absolutely need this to survive in a
Mm,
relationship, which is those needs. Like, don't change on the needs. Do not
right.
change on the needs.
Okay, the need.
So I would say make a plan and then go out there and execute it.
That's good. Having a plan in place. And so, with having a plan in place, how important do boundaries play in finding your partner, your person?
Yes.
We
Oh,
got
so
the
good.
plan now.
Yes.
We need boundaries.
We need boundaries. I'm so glad you brought that up because again, people go out here with a plan and then they don't have boundaries. That's something else that you need. So you need to know, like, am I not having sex until marriage? That you need to know that. Do I
Right.
want to kiss on the first date? You need to know that.
Right.
And any of your other boundaries. So boundaries are really important because once you set them, you need to keep them. And then if someone violates those boundaries, then you need to have consequences, right? So if
Mm,
let's say you're on the phone, it's getting late, and he's like, "Yeah, I really gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta get off. I gotta go to work in the morning, so I need to get off the phone." If the person violates your boundary of like, "Nah, I still want to talk," you're like, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get off the phone and I'm gonna hang up and whatever the consequence is, and I will
right.
talk to you tomorrow. If they keep
Right.
blowing up your phone, then that's not the person for you because one, they keep violating your boundaries and they don't respect you, right?
Right.
So boundaries are important. They show if the other person will respect them, they show if they respect you.
Mm,
And for the person who's setting the boundaries, they need to make sure they set them and stick to them. Because I
stick
think a
to
lot of
'em.
times people do not stick to them and then they let them loose and then they other person like, oh, okay, now I can come in and do whatever I want, and that's not cool either.
Right. Well, why you bring up a great point. Why don't we, when we set boundaries, why don't we stick to them? If we know that it's something that it's helping us, right? It's a way of protecting us and just giving us time. Why don't we stick to those boundaries? Because I've done it.
Yeah, me too. I think we all been there,
No,
right?
I know. And then, so two-part question. Why don't we
Yeah.
stick to those boundaries? And when we don't stick to them, how can we realign ourselves to put the boundaries
Mm.
back in place?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people don't stick to boundaries is because they're afraid they're going to make the other person mad.
Mm,
And if they stick to them, that person may be persistent. Like, why can't I do this? Let's just take sex for example.
right,
Let's say you like, I really don't want to have sex before marriage, and then that person just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and then finally you're like, well, I mean, he cute. I mean, he might be right. I mean, and then you start talking yourself out of it, and then next thing you know, you're on your back. And
Right.
so, I
Yeah,
mean,
we being real here. Listen, this is real.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, it happens. It
That's a
happens.
real story. And so, and then next, you're regretting giving up that boundary. You can always come back and say, you know what, I messed up. I
Right.
really do not want to have sex before marriage. If you don't like it, then you can go. And I think
Right.
that's the other thing. People need to be okay with people leaving. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
sometimes people hold on to people, right, that they
Yep.
don't need because they're afraid of them leaving, or I invested too much time, or they're a really good person. It doesn't matter if they're not aligned with you. It don't matter. They
Matter.
can't stay if they're not aligned.
Yeah.
So and that's my whole thing. That's why I say the first thing you need to do is pray, because you need to
Yeah.
be aligned with God before you get out here in these trash dating streets.
Right.
let's just let's be honest, right? These streets, hey, listen.
Listen.
Listen, these streets ain't nice. They are trash.
Oh,
You
wow.
got your gems somewhere up in this trash, but you got to get through the trash to get to the gems.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
you need to be aligned with a higher power that way knows way more than you do. To
Right.
let you know, like, he ain't it, sis. He
Right.
ain't it. She's definitely ain't it. You need to bypass that one, right?
Right.
You need to. That's why you need to be aligned. That's why I say pray first.
Yeah.
One, to even know if this your season. If it is your season, Lord, show me,
Yeah.
reveal their character before I even need to see it, right?
Yeah.
And I think when people don't do that, they end up in those situations, like the example I gave, because they're so afraid of losing people. And on top of that, I'm going on a whole tangent now.
No, please.
On top of that, like, people also need to heal, right, before they go out here and start dating. So that's that prayer and that's that healing. They go together, because if you go out here, you haven't healed from past relationships, you're just gonna keep doing the same cycle. It's gonna look different because it's gonna be different people, but it's gonna be the same thing. And then people always like, why do I keep picking the same guy? I said, because you ain't healed from the first one. So now we on guy number 5. That's why. Like, can we heal from the first dude that hurt you? Like,
Wow.
let's start there. Let's start
Wow.
at the core. Really, it ain't even him. Let's go back to childhood. You know what I'm saying? And let's figure out what happened back there that
Yeah.
led you to here, that led you to keep picking these same people. So I think a lot of times people need to heal. They need to pray. They need to do a lot of, have a plan, and you need to know it's okay to be by yourself. It's okay to tell somebody no, and you can go to the next person, because I'm not doing it. Like that's a whole sentence. That's a whole boundary too. And I think
Listen.
that's why people can't do it, because they don't know how to be assertive. They not healed. They just want to hold on to people. They want to hold on to trash. You can find your gym. You said he holding on to trash, and the gym out there, and you ain't looking for the gym because you still got your trash. You think this the best thing is. Guys like, nah, it's not my best, but you think it is. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm done talking.
Yeah. Wow. No. So what you said is that, and what Pastor Darius, and I got to change church, and you said you listen to Pastor Darius, but he says that God will let you live on the level you settle on. And when he said that, I was like, "Ooh, that's good."
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, because oftentimes we think, oh God, this is for me, or this is the best, like this is it. But if you settle, he will let you live on that level. And I never thought about it like that. I don't know, can you unpack that as a therapist? Like, I mean, it's just so true.
It
But we
is. It is. No, it is. I can talk about me. Like, I was in a relationship for 4 years, and I settled. I was not myself in that relationship. I don't even know who I was in that relationship, but who I was then and who I am now is two different people.
Mhm.
And I settled for this person because I wanted a family, right? Like, I ended up having a kid by him, love him to death. Like, we're friends now. But I think at the time when we were dating, like, I settled.
Yeah.
I settled. Let's just call a spade
Yeah.
a spade.
Yeah, we
And
do.
I mean, he's not my best. And
Right.
we've had this conversation, so it's not like I'm talking trash on him or nothing, but
Right.
he's not what I need, right?
Right.
And I think that's okay. But it's also like being able to say that. I couldn't say that because I was too afraid of being
Mhm.
alone. I didn't
Mhm.
want to let it go. I was like, we got this kid together. Let's make it work. Let's be a family. And it's like I had to realize, like, family is what you make it. It's
Yeah.
not just because me and this person had a baby, so now we got to stay together. It can be I had a person with this baby, and I can go give with someone else and have another baby. We can get married over here, right?
Yeah.
And so just being able to undo that thinking. I had to
Yeah.
go to therapy. I had to go to
Mhm.
therapy. I had to get healed. I had to pray, like God show me some things,
Yeah.
and that's just what it is. So I think it's hard for people to let go just because of that fear of being lonely, fear of like I won't have my family together. Like we need to be a unit. It's just like I mean, family's what you make it. I mean, let's
Yeah.
just be for
Yeah.
real. And if it's not God's best, then why are we still staying?
Yes. Yes. Come on now.
I'm
Because
just
he wants his best for his children at the end of the day. And you touched on something. I want to go back to this healing,
mhm,
right? So healing out of a relationship because I believe that I'm still healing from some things.
absolutely.
But how do you heal from a relationship? So here's the question. How do we heal from a past relationship? Do we need to heal completely or can we be healed some and then move on? Like, how does that work? Like, how do we know, when
Mm.
we're healed? Because sometimes I hear people say healing is a lifelong process, So can you explain that?
Ooh, that's a hard thing to explain because I think it's I think it's person by person, right?
Okay.
I think that healing is a journey.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just like a zoom, like we on the races and we're around the track 4 times and then we're done, right? I think it's a journey. I think it takes people time,
Mhm.
depending on the person, depending on the therapist, depending on if they even seeing a therapist, because some people don't go to therapy
Yeah.
and they heal slow, I'm just it's a slow heal, it's a turtle heal, right? It's a
Yeah.
snail.
Okay.
We're doing at a snail's pace.
Yeah.
But I do I just think that, go get you some wise counsel. Whether if it's not a therapist, see your pastor or pastor's wife or lay members that do counseling. I know there's people out there that do biblical counseling.
Right.
Um, some type of wise counsel. Go talk to
Right.
someone. I just
Somebody.
know like you cannot do it by yourself. That's why we have community. That's why God made community. He did not
Yeah.
make you to go through anything painful by yourself. Like you need a community of people, safe people. Let me
Woo!
safe.
Woo! That's key. That's key.
That's the key.
Safe people.
Safe. Like, please make vet them. Please vet them. If vet them and let them know, hey, I am going through. I need to talk about XYZ. Do you have the capacity to
Hmm.
listen, to hold space, to be
Mhm.
there, to be non-judgmental, all the things. Like you need to really ask that person, can you do this? Because when you go into therapy, that's my job. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it regardless because that's what I was trained for.
Right.
Everybody ain't trained for this.
Yeah.
So not everybody can help you with this. And that's okay. That's why God made people to help you with this. So I will say, find that wise counsel, find that person to help you with healing. Like I said, healing is a journey. It's
Mhm.
hard to say, like, yeah, take a year because when people come see me for therapy, how long I'm be in therapy? I'm like, I don't know. Like, why you? And so I'm
It depends on you.
right. I said, well, first I say, I don't know. That's always my answer. And I was like, well, why don't you know? I said, because everyone's different. I
Mhm.
literally had someone come in. We talked about her stuff. She was gone in 6 weeks. I had somebody else come in. We talked about her stuff. I'm still seeing her to the day, 2, 3 years later. So
Yeah.
it just really just depends on the person. And so I think some people pick it up quick and they can just go on about their way. I think
Yeah.
some other people, it's once you start unpacking one thing and something else comes up and something else comes up, and next we way back here, then we got to come back to the front, and then they start dating, and then some that then that's happening, and it can be really convoluted.
Right.
So I think it just really just depends on the person, what's going on, what they're working on. But I would definitely say healing is a journey.
Yeah.
And it's just, and sometimes triggers can come. Yeah, healing's kind of complicated, kind of like
Right.
grief. Grief is
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah. Oh man, listen,
Yeah.
it totally is. Yeah, all I can say is yeah, grief is complicated, like you said. Healing, I'm still on my own healing journey. And again, by God, there are so many things that I've learned about myself just through coaching and even just through conversations that I have with therapists like you and coaches like you, I'm constantly learning about myself and getting
Yeah.
better. So like you said, it is a journey and we just have to learn to embrace that, right? Um,
Yes. Well, speaking of embracing, I think a lot of times what can slow down healing is when you don't embrace it.
mm,
What I've seen with clients, they're like, "Well, I'm mad I haven't healed yet, and why this still bothering me?" And blah blah blah. I'm always like, just let it be. Like, why are we questioning how we heal if you never healed from this before? This is the first time you ever healed from this, so you don't know how you're going to respond or how you're
ooh,
going to react. So just let your body do what your body do, and just let it be. Accept it. Just
girl,
accept
you
it.
better listen. You better come on. Just let it be.
Just let it be. And
Let
you
it be.
and guess what? They all get to the same point they need to get to, which is healing. But I'm like, if you're worried about healing, you're not gonna get to healing. I
Yeah,
mean, not Proverbs, Philippians, it tell us to don't worry about anything but to pray, right?
yeah,
And also it tells you what to focus on. It tells you to focus on what is true, what is lovely, what is admirable, and all those other things. And then you experience God's peace. Sometimes you just need peace just to be in the healing. Just say, Lord, just give me peace while I heal. That's
yeah,
all you need. The peace
yeah.
of God to get you through that, not worrying about why you're not healing. Just know the healing is going to come. But that comes with faith. So you got to believe in God that if God's going to heal you through this, and
Right.
just have that faith and just have his peace. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Oh, that's so good. Man, like that space,
Mm-hmm.
just having peace.
And
Wow.
give yourself time and space. Just sometimes people just again just don't know how to be, and
Yeah.
just sit there sometimes and just sit in it. And just what you feeling.
I'm,
Journal about it. All
I'm
the
guilty.
things.
Yeah,
You
I'm guilty.
guilty?
I want
Girl, what you be doing?
to rush through stuff. Like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to sit in this mess. If we're going to be transparent,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I feel that way. And
Yeah,
I know I'm like, I don't want to sit in my emotions. I don't want to sit in the 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 rejection. I don't want to
yeah,
sit in the feeling of being sad. But it's so important to acknowledge the feeling.
absolutely.
And I'll share something like within the last couple months, I've been going through a health crisis, and it was my heart, right? And so I was just going to the doctor. It was just a routine checkup because I had been having pressure in my in my chest area where my heart is. And I was like, I'm just gonna go. I'm like, ain't nothing probably wrong. It's probably stress. But the doctor found ST depression in my heart. And I was talking to my best friend. She was like, you know, sister, she's like, that's tied to, you know, like your emotions. She was like, what have you been holding on to?
Mm,
You got to release some stuff, sis. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I haven't been processing through my emotions. I've been holding it in. And
mm,
so what that does is what I learned is in the heart, in that area, emotions of grief and heartbreak.
ooh,
Yeah. And so I wasn't allowing myself to feel the feelings and
mm-hmm,
process through the heartbreak or and rejection, more expanding back. Here we go to my childhood.
mm,
So from my father. And I had to unpack that. I had to say,
yeah,
this is how I'm feeling and kind of move through. And like you said, reach out to a therapist and reach out and talk to like my friends that
mm-hmm,
again that safe community,
yeah,
like, hey sis, I'm feeling like this, I'm not feeling good today. So when I resolved all that, when I say I went back for the test, so they found it, that was like within a month. So and then I went back maybe about a month later, and the doctor was like, okay, we still see something, so I'm gonna send you to do some further testing, and so to actually look at your heart, your coronary arteries. And again, I had been going through like just processing the emotions, and
mm-hmm.
results came back and he was like, there's nothing there, like you're
Okay,
good, you know. Yeah,
I
so
love that.
uh, it helps, like this when we have unprocessed emotions, it builds itself up, and it I don't know, but can you speak to that? Like I had never I knew it's like but it's like when it starts to affect you, like, oh shoot.
Yeah, mind, body, spirit, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Mind, body, spirit is all connected. And I've seen people who have, like, I work with people who have panic attacks, and they're always like, well, why do I have panic attacks? I'm like, well, what are you worrying about? Right.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
mean, like, I've had panic attacks, like, especially when COVID first started. I was
Yeah.
like, my heart hurt. I
Yeah.
have COVID. Like you sneeze, you thought you had COVID.
COVID.
And it's like, but you COVID. And I remember having like my chest was hurt. My chest hurt so bad. I went to urgent care. And like I said,
Mm,
it was probably end of March because I had just got furloughed from my job. No, the
mm.
world was shutting down, and then the aliens was coming. All the things were happening. And so the aliens, girl, they was coming to get us. And
Yeah.
so I was in urgent care, like my chest hurt. They was like, nothing's wrong with you. I was like, yes, it is. It's like, you having a panic attack. I said, not the therapist having a panic
Panic
attack.
attack.
What's happening? That was me. But it's real. I worried myself so much because I think again, a lot was happening during that time. And I
Right.
think for me to be furloughed from my job was like the final straw. I was like, well, I'm gonna
Right.
get some money, but I'm gonna do that, all the things. And that was the final straw. I probably never had a panic attack in my life until that happened. And I
Wow.
didn't never since I never had one, I was like, what is this? Like my chest, I'm about to have a heart attack. And they was like, no, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. We
Yeah.
give you prescription of Xanax. Do you want? I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want no meds. I'm
You was
good.
like, oh, I'm good now.
I'm good. But I also but I also didn't realize that I had anxiety as bad as I did.
Mm.
I was going to, I want to say I had started therapy maybe a year before that. And we were working through some things,
Right.
but I didn't know I had anxiety that bad. And
Okay.
so I had to, because during COVID again, lost my job. So I didn't have that much money. So I was like, okay, you're a therapist. You know how to do this. Let's go. So I had to therapize
Right.
myself because I was
Right.
broke. But but make a long story short, yes, all that is connected. My worry led to my panic attack, and and again, I was not praying that much. I mean, I
Mhm.
cried out like, "Lord, help me!" But did I really believe it? No.
Yeah.
So, like I
Yeah.
said, I was not praying as I know how to pray now,
Right.
to God and get that guidance and help that I needed from Him. So I was just out here just by myself, just winging it, like I'm
Wow.
dying with a
Wow.
panic attack. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
dying.
And let's just talk about, like you said, seeking that wise counsel. You
Mm,
said even you have a therapist.
yes,
So the therapist has a therapist. So if the
absolutely.
therapist has a therapist, we definitely need a therapist. I'm
Facts,
just saying.
facts, facts. And all my friends who are, it's sad, I got a lot of therapist friends, but all of us, we like a little tribe of us,
Yeah.
especially in St. Louis, because I'm in St. Louis, and we have a Facebook group. St. Louis Black Therapist, something about St. Louis Black Therapists. I don't know it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like but like we are such a tight-knit group in St. Louis that
Wow, that's amazing.
we share resources and referrals, and we even like who can therapize me that I don't know, like who do y'all
Right.
know that y'all can send to me? Like that's
Right.
what we do, and we're a resource for each other. I mean, I can call up a friend now and be like, "Hey, girl, I need you to be a therapist right now." Okay, cool. I got a couple of people I can do that, and people do that with me. Like they call me, like, "Okay, Melissa, I need a therapist right now. I just saw my therapist, but I'm still like tripping." Okay, cool. Like that's just how we are in St. Louis. I don't know how it is in other cities, but
Yeah.
in St. Louis, we're a tight knit group. We do a lot of networking and all of that. So yes, the therapist has a therapist. Like I said, most of my friends have therapists who are therapists, and even like my other friends, they know I'm a therapist, and they're like, "Let me go get a therapist," right? So,
Right. Right.
so like therapy is a real thing amongst my friend group, and
Yeah.
we really try to hold each other accountable. And like my friends call me out, like, "Have you seen your therapist, girl? You tripping? You right? Let me call up
Wow.
Camille. Let me call Camille real quick."
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so good. That's so good, especially sometimes, because within our community, it's like don't tell nobody your business, especially growing up in the Black community. I'm sure we can spend like so much time on that,
Girl, that's a
but
whole episode and a half.
yeah, by itself. So, but it's good to know that again, you have a therapist, and again, seek wise counsel, seek out people like you said, that safe space, people that can help you. Because I had to learn that too. I didn't know I needed
Yeah,
a therapist, but it's helping me.
I'm
So,
glad. Shout out to your
yeah,
therapist.
girl, I do. I have to, because otherwise I'll be crazy. Like, what's wrong with
Thanks.
her? Like,
Thanks.
yeah, Dominique just spazzed out. Like, let's call her therapist.
That's fast. I tell people Jesus and therapy done got me through. So
Listen, that's it. Jesus and a therapist.
yes.
So, as a therapist, I want to talk about, because I'm all about self love,
Ooh.
right?
Love this already.
Yes. So, how important does self love play in finding your partner, your person?
Hey sis, do you want to start dating and you have no idea where to start? Or you are dating and you're not having the best of luck or not getting the results you want in this trash dating environment? I'm going to challenge you to come out to the How to Find Your Partner workshop. Here, you will learn the 3 P's when it comes to dating. What's your purpose? What's your plan? And what is your process? Tickets are on sale now, and there are 2 options. We have an in-person option on May 17th, located right here in good old St. Louis, Missouri, and we also have a virtual option, and that will be on May 18th. Go ahead and click the link in the bio to buy your tickets and to find out more information, and I will see you at the workshop. Ooh, child. A lot, because if you don't love yourself, then you're going to accept any type of love. And I think that also goes back to, you know, aligning with God. Everything
Right.
goes back. Like He is the foundation. He's the foundation. Because how you love yourself, I literally just did an episode of this on my podcast. How you love yourself, I believe it will show up how you love people and how you love God. Right. So if you don't have a lot of self love, right, if you just think that you're worthless and you're no good and I'm not good enough, blah, 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 that's going to translate to your relationships. That's
Mhm.
definitely gonna translate to God. You're gonna be looking at God like, I'm not good enough to get a man. Blah, 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 blah. And he like, I ain't never said that.
Yeah. Right.
I never told you that. Like, that's not in my
Right.
word. So like open your Bible.
Yeah.
But
Yes. Listen.
God 3:16. Let's go. Like, let's
For God
let's
so
be
loved the
for
world, He
real.
gave His only begotten Son. Come on. But as
Like for
Christians,
real.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like we call ourselves Christians, but we don't read the word and what it says about us. When I tell you
Ma'am.
the Bible has been His word, God's word has literally saved me. First of all, Jesus is my savior because I
Amen.
was trying to be my own savior, which He revealed that to me,
Oof.
you know, and me trying to do just life, trying to get things perfect and right.
Oof.
And God is like, you ain't perfect,
Oof.
and
That
stop
part.
trying to be, because you're pressing toward the mark. You can strive for
Mm-hmm.
excellence, but you ain't perfect. So stop holding yourself to a standard that I don't even hold you to.
And that you will never reach.
Yes, come on. So give yourself some grace. And I had to
Yeah.
learn that. I
Mm.
had to learn to give myself grace. And what I was doing was, by not giving myself grace, again, I could not give it to other people.
Yep.
So I'm measuring and judging them by the
Yep.
same standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
how you gonna do that? And you say you love God and you love people, So He had to step out on my toes
All up
and
on
get
them.
get me together. But I was just like, God has revealed so much to me. And like I said, what I thought I was doing right, or the
Yeah.
Christian way,
Yeah.
God has been unpacking so much. And we may have to bring you back on, because I'm telling you, like, so much like religion in my head and thinking like you have to do things this way,
Mm.
in order to get my love, when God is not like that. That's why his son Jesus came.
Come on. That's what we celebrated yesterday.
Yeah. So, but girl, he had to get all that out of me. Like, what he's like, what are you doing, Dominique? What
Yeah.
Who told
Yeah.
you that? What does my word say about that?
Listen, because I tell people all the time, you look at First Corinthians where it says love is patient, love is kind, all of that. I
Mm.
always tell them, take the word love out and put your name.
Mm.
Are you kind to yourself? Are you patient with yourself?
So,
You know, all the things that those verses says, like, do you show yourself love? Do you show that to other people? Because first, the two commandments that he gave us: love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and all your strength. And the second one is love your neighbor as yourself. Like, what are we doing? The definition of love is in First Corinthians, not what society says, Facebook say, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whoever. If that's not what love is, the Bible tells us what love is. I mean, throughout the whole thing. I
yeah.
mean, God, I mean, Paul went in Romans 8, talking what can separate us from the love of God? Nothing, pretty much. Because he just went in the next couple of verses. I said, that man was preaching, preaching. So I think when it comes to love, we need to get the right definition, which is that First Corinthians 13 love. Like, that's the only love that we can really, because at the end of the day, God is love, right? And God shows us that love that's in First Corinthians. Like, we just gotta believe that. And if you don't believe that, then why you out here trying to love anybody anyway? I
Listen,
mean, I'm trying to figure that out. I'd be like, why you out here loving? You don't even love yourself.
I,
You don't know God love you. You don't know you love God. Let's be for real.
oh my gosh, this conversation, listen,
That was that prayer before we hopped on. See?
girl, God is here.
Yes.
I mean, if I can say, I'm like, because I've always been a firm believer of how, like, loving others, like, again, we have to be patient, we have to be kind. And it's like, are we showing ourselves that, just what you said? And
Yeah.
then, is that how we're loving people? And I'm gonna give you the real deal. To be honest, we not loving people the right way.
Oh no. Absolutely not.
Like, people be like, "Oh yeah, I love him, I love them," and but I look at your actions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, that's not love.
Right.
And some of us are not even intentionally doing it. Maybe we don't know, and some of us are just like oblivious.
Yeah.
And like you said, again, when I love when you say taking that thing back to TikTok and Instagram, and it's like everybody talking about love, but everything that I hear about love, again, I'm sifting it back through the word of God. What does
Yes.
God say about it? Because I think with these social media and TikTok and this and people prophesying, it's like, what does
Girl.
God say about it? What does his word say? And everybody's an expert on everything. And if I want to be like Jesus and I want to walk with him, I
Yeah.
got to know what he says about it. Like, what does the word say? And we
Amen.
got to be able to believe that, man. And
Yeah.
give me scripture. What you saying? What that scripture? Like, you said that whatever, I got to do this by my husband. Where that in the Bible? Where that say that at?
Girl, that's why I love Pastor Derek. He be like, I got Bible for that. I got
Bible.
Bible. I can go to the book. I got Bible. And every episode I do on my podcast, everything I do, I always try to filter it through the word of God. Because what I'm not about to do is have you out here looking foolish, which is not wise, right? I'm not gonna have you out here looking foolish because it's something that I thought. Nah,
Right.
I'm gonna be like, wait, I think this is somewhere in the Bible. Hold on, girl. I will Google in the middle of a therapy session. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it is. Yep, I was right. Okay, it's in blah blah blah. Like, I'm not gonna tell you nothing that God ain't told me through His Word.
Right. Right.
not
That's
what
good.
God has told me, but what God has told me through His
Through his
Word.
word.
because I
Ooh.
didn't say God told me something, and God might not. God like I ain't say that. You say that? Did you
Ooh.
say that? What He said through His word,
Word.
like it needs to
Ooh.
be in black and white in that good book. Because if it ain't in the good book, I'm not gonna tell you that God told me that. Period. Even if God told me, I'm still gonna filter it through the good book and make sure that it's God. Because your pastor done taught me that too. So, like, you got to filter again. The whole foundation is God. Like, you have to include Him in everything. Because if you don't, then it's like you said, I'm being the ruler of my life in this area, and I got this. And God's like, you don't, but I'm gonna let you figure that out. Come back when you're ready. My door's always open. Have an open door policy.
It. I love it.
For
Oh
real.
my gosh, Melissa. Wow. Wow, man. Wow. Okay. Okay. So let me bring it back. That's so
Okay.
good. All right. Um, man, okay. So as a therapist,
Mhm.
what's the number one problem that you see in people trying to find their purpose or sorry, trying to find their partner?
Mm. I think the number who would that be number one? I think the number one thing is impatience.
Mm.
I would definitely say impatience. I would definitely say a lot of worry. So that kind of goes into impatience.
Ooh.
I think a lot of times people worry that they won't find a person, and then they go into this negative self-talk or negative thinking of like, again, I'm not good enough. I will never find. I'm just gonna be single for the rest of my life. And I'm always like, okay, is that what you want to believe? And they're like, well, no, but that's just what's happening. I'm like, is that what's
Mm.
happening, or is it just that you haven't found the person yet? Or the person
Mm.
hasn't found you yet,
Yeah.
because you can walk out the door and go to, again, Trader Joe's, my favorite place to go,
Yeah.
and somebody can hit on you. Like, what
Yeah.
are we talking about? I was like, you're so focused on what has happened that you're not even focused on what will or what can happen, right? And so I'd have to teach people like get out of the past because you went on a one day, it didn't work, and now life is over. Like, can we get out the past and just stay in the present? Because if you're in the present, you ain't got time to worry about the past, and you ain't got time to worry about the future. So let's just stay here. let's sit here and chill out, right? So that is a lot of what I'm doing. Trying to tell people, chill. It's
Yeah.
okay. Stay
Ooh.
present. Also, with that, I just thought of something else. Comes contentment. So if
Mm.
you're not content, this is the other thing. This is the other thing I forgot to mention earlier. If you ain't content in singleness, you might not need to be dating. You might not need to be dating, because if you're not content with where you are currently and all you want to do is just find you a mate because I'm tired of being single and all this other stuff, then you don't need to be dating, because contentment is a state of being, right? Like, I think happiness is a feeling, which it is, and
Yeah.
happiness and those feelings are fleeting. So one day you can be happy that you're single. The next day, you have a bad day. Oh my God, it sucks. And then you go back, find you another day. Okay, I'm happy now. Then you have a bad day. Okay, this sucks. I don't like this no more. If you content, you don't care. If you content, you don't care. And you just like, okay, I had a bad day. Okay, cool. Get back on this here app and keep going, because
Yeah.
you already know, like, I don't find my happiness in these people. I find my contentment in God. God gives me strength through this season to be able to go through it. Paul talks about that. He said, I had to learn how to be content, right? Like, so when I say contentment is a state of being, like, you have to know that that you're gonna be okay in this season, that God gonna provide, He gonna be your shepherd, He gonna give you everything that you need. Like, I teach people contentment through Psalms 23, like the whole 6 verses. I'm like, let's just go through this and I'm gonna show you how what God would do for you when you are content. He will be your
Mm.
shepherd. He gonna provide. He gonna tell you how to rest. He gonna give you rest. He gonna vindicate you. He gonna he gonna vindicate you. He gonna put a whole table in front of you with a whole feast, and he gonna like eat. Y'all see her eating? I did that. Okay, cool. And then he said, I'm gonna dwell in this house. You're gonna dwell in the house of the Lord forever. you're gonna be okay because you're God's child. But you have to realize that. And that's why I say you have to learn contentment, right? And so once you are content, you just don't care. And so it's just like, okay, the next one would come because you already have your faith in God. You know God will supply your needs. And if a man is a need in that season, let's be
Yeah.
correct, in that
Yeah.
season, he
Yeah.
will provide it. And that's okay. And that's
Wow.
okay. Like you
Yeah.
just gotta be okay with how life is going and not try to control how life should be.
Girl, listen, you speaking to my whole spirit. You getting me together. Look, this our therapy session.
It's for free, girl. I got you.
Okay, y'all, listen. This what happens on the Dominique Chantel Show. Listen, we be getting our lives together. Melissa's getting me together.
I'm sorry.
No, but you don't be sorry because you're speaking life and you're speaking truth and you're speaking the word of truth, which is God's word. So this is just amazing. Let me ask you a question, okay?
Go ahead.
Because does the perfect partner exist?
Mm, no, no, because no one's perfect, right? I think God has someone for you
Mhm.
that you can do ministry with and you
Mm.
can do his work with. He's like, I'm gonna get one person and I'm gonna get this person. And if I put them together, they're gonna do amazing things for me in the ministry.
Oh, wait a minute. Put a pin right there. You
Okay.
said
Uh-huh.
that this person and this person, if I put them together, they're going to do great things in ministry. Now, I just heard this, I think from Pastor Mike Ty. He was talking about how, or Tim Ross, it was somebody, listen, they were saying
One
how
of
people, yeah, they get together based on sometimes like they don't look at purpose
them.
or they don't look at purpose, they look at that other things. I forgot what they say, but things outside of purpose. But they say you should be looking at purpose because it's like if we're going to be together and be fruitful and multiply, like you got to be going in somewhat like the same direction. Can you talk a little bit about that? And so when you said ministry, I'm gonna put this person together and this person together and we're going to do great things together. Like I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I can't remember who the pastor was. I listened to so many.
Yeah,
I
I
listen
know, right?
I
We
listen
get
to so many. I mean, I'd be like, oh, it's Sunday. Yeah, it's finna be.
yes,
I got a whole lineup. I'm like, who has a lineup of churches
come on.
that
Listen,
they watch?
no, that's I was gonna say. I run down. I listen to my pastor, PD, Change Church, and
Mm-hmm.
I can flip over to Keon Henderson, and then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I hit Stephen Furtick, and then
Mm.
I hit Bishop T.D. Jakes, Sarah
Yeah,
Roberts,
yeah,
Torrey
yeah.
Roberts. It's like, whoa, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. No, no, you good. I got a lineup. It's
yeah,
my pastor here in St. Louis. I go to One Family Church with Pastor Brent Rome, who's amazing. Love him. And then I think I watch PD or I watch Robert Madu and then Stephen Furtick, and then I hit up some other people as I might see throughout the day. Like I'm
yeah.
listening to sermons throughout the
Oh,
week,
wow. Wow.
which which I think makes me so full. I have to go to my Bible and be like, okay, wait, he said this. Let me go. Let me also go to. I have this app called the Blue Letter Bible because my brother's a minister, and so he was
Okay.
like, get to the Blue Letter Bible. You can go there and see the commentary. And but I said commentary. What?
Oh, you
No.
told me about something because I was using, girl. Look what I was using. I was using the good book, y'all. When I do my studying, because when I be doing scriptures, I be using my Bible commentary, y'all. That's what I be using. This big
Yeah.
old book. But you said the blue. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, it's blue. It's called the Blue Letter Bible. I know you can
Okay,
get to it on the website, and they also have an app.
okay,
Um, but somebody else told me to get Tony Evans commentary because they said
sure.
that's really good.
Okay.
Blah 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 blah. We totally off subject. Anyway,
Oh,
so
we are sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine. What was the question? What was the? Oh, I don't know who I was listening to. And they were talking about one aligning with God, and that way
Mhm.
God can align you with the right person. And in that way you all can do his will and his purpose together.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
took it back to Adam and Eve and how Eve was made out of his rib and how they were made to do purpose things because God
Yeah.
made her because he like, it's not good for man to be alone and we let's put them together and let's and I'm probably jacking up the whole paraphrasing. But I honestly believe that this is just my belief. I don't know if this is super biblical, but my belief is, and again, I'm working on this belief as we go, but my belief is that God made me and God made someone for me to do his will and his work with. It has nothing to do with me. I think that's the point. Like, although
Mm,
I want someone who handsome and all that. I'm sure God would give me that because he ain't gonna give me nobody busted and disgusted because that ain't his best, right? And so in my eyes, I'm like, if God's gonna give me his best to do
yeah.
ministry with, he better be fine. I ain't
Yeah.
say he gotta have a six pack, but
Right.
he better be healthy. Like the things that's on my list that I pray for, I feel like God would be like, say less, I got you and more, right?
Right.
Um, and I also believe that whoever God pushed me with, then that would be the person that I would do ministry with. I think that's for everybody. And before anybody say, well, the divorce rate is 50% and all this other stuff, I think that's because they went with the person God wanted them to be with. If you align with God, He will align with you, and y'all will be in alignment together. You won't get with the broken and disgusted because at the end of the day, if you really look at that, was that God's best? I always ask people, was that God's best? They're like, nah, then we need to keep going. Or is this God's best, the person that you dating? Nah, we need to keep going because I just don't believe God will be like, yes, y'all need to get together so He can, you know, physically harm you or he can cuss you out or they can hurt you emotionally. Like I don't feel this is a personal thing. I don't feel God will put me with someone and be like, yeah, that's my best. He gonna cuss you out every day. What? That's
Yeah.
God I serve. Good God I serve God everything. He walk on gold. I know he can give me somebody better than that. Like come on now, come on.
No, you're right. That's my belief as well. Like marriage is a ministry.
Marriage is a ministry
It
because
is.
how we operate in marriage shows love, right? And it
Yeah.
also shows other people like, yeah, this is what we want. We all know that the devil wants to destroy marriages, and I think
Right.
that's where all this confusion and all this other stuff come from. Like I said, I feel like God want to give me His best, and broken, disgusting ain't His best.
That's right. That's it. Wow. Yeah. We listen. That's good. That's so good. But I also want to talk about, so I'm gonna do this.
Okay.
How to, so we've talked about, right, finding our purpose, our partner, how to find that person. Um how do we recognize toxic traits? So could you
Ooh,
talk about that a little bit? How
yeah.
to recognize toxic traits? And um Pastor Darius talked about this a little. He said sometimes you have to be able to discern a bad decision from a bad heart. And I was like, whoa.
Man, your
Or
pastor be coming with the word. I'll be
or
like,
or bad, but he said bad decision or bad character.
mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because if your character ain't right,
Mm,
then that's probably not somebody you want to be with. But if it was a bad decision, then that's a little different.
that
You know
is
what I'm saying?
different. That
Yeah.
is different. Yeah, I think he made it he said the bad decision was Peter, denying Christ, and the bad
Yeah.
character was Judas,
Judas. Yeah.
actually betraying
Yeah.
Jesus and actually doing other crazy stuff before he betrayed Jesus. So that
Right.
was just a bad character. So yeah, I think that's what he uh compared it to. I will say toxic traits. I will say anything that makes you feel unsafe is probably something that's toxic. Probably
Mhm.
something that you don't want to be around, right?
Yeah.
So that is if you feel like you can't be yourself with someone, probably don't need to be around that person. If you feel like you need to change yourself around someone, don't need to be with that person. If you just don't feel safe, period, like, and I mean safe not in like a this too safe in a way of like physical, like that's real. but
Right.
also like emotional. Like if you feel like every time you bring something up and this person gonna bite your head off with words, or
Yeah.
or they ghost you just out the blue and they come back like, yeah, my bad, you made me mad, so I left. You can't communicate. Like,
Right.
how old are we? I'm almost 40. Like, what are we doing
And we ghosted people. We ghosted people at this age.
at this
Like you
big
just
age?
couldn't communicate like, hey, you know what, you're not for me, like, and that's okay, you
Yeah.
know. But and we can move on, and you don't have to ghost nobody.
You ain't gotta ghost nobody. You ain't got if someone is I'm sorry, if someone is buying you gifts, I mean gifts within the first week, I mean just laying them on you. That's called love bombing. We don't want that either.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a lot of things. I think you can figure out someone's again character
Yeah.
in the beginning. I usually tell people take about 2 weeks, 2 3 weeks. I know people don't really show who they are, or they bring up representative or whatever, but that representative's gonna leave. You gonna see their true
Yeah.
colors, but you
Yeah.
have to believe them. And I think a lot of times people do like their love bombing and some of this other stuff just to bait you in. So then when their true colors do come out, you're like, well, they a good person. Now I hate with it with the T, with the capital T. I hate when
Right.
people say, well, they're a good person. What does that mean? What does that mean? I always, and that's always my question. What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But are they good for you? Like what? Yeah. What?
Are they good for you? And just because they're a good person, I mean they can't make bad decisions. I think sometimes people think good people don't make bad decisions. No, good people mess up all the time. Good
Yeah.
people can have bad characters too. Like you
Yeah.
just gotta know, like just because they do some good things doesn't necessarily mean that they're great, that they're not bad people. Like bad people, it's criminals out here to do something nice every day. That
Yeah.
don't mean that they ain't stole a couple of banks and got money bags in the back. Like I don't get, but he's a good person. What are we
Yeah.
talking about? What does that even have to
Yeah.
do with you
Yeah.
aligning with this person? He cussing you out every day, but he a good person. How is that good? And then I started challenging them on that. Like he's good, but he's cussing you out. He's good, but he's making you feel small. No one should make you feel small. But he's
Yeah.
such a good person. Tell me more. They like, well, I guess he's not a good person. I'm like, you need to believe that. Girl, I
But
be reading
I
people in
mean,
therapy.
wait, you're laughing, but in all seriousness, that is so true. But how do you learn that though? That again, if somebody's cursing you out or making you feel small, you learn that again.
Take that
Like,
back to the good book. Go
yeah,
back to First Corinthians 13. Like take them, take that, put that person's name. Darius is kind. Nine. He cussed me out the other day twice. But he ain't
yeah,
kind.
yeah, God,
He ain't patient either because he cussed me out twice. Like, let's be for real, y'all. And again, I used to be her, so I can talk about her. So shoot.
y'all. Are y'all enjoying this conversation? Like, put it in the chat. Oh my gosh, like this whole conversation is just giving me life. It's so real and so raw. But these are things that happen to us every day and that we experience. And again, like we settle, we do these things. We say, oh, but we use these excuses, And so it's just truly amazing to just get this level of just professionalism and coaching, right, and counseling
Yes,
through this episode because we need it. We all need it.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
helped me a lot, and even in this, this last hour, 45 minutes that we've spent together, it's just been
Yes.
amazing. And so, I want to bring up one thing that Pastor Darius says a lot. He says, if you're constantly making, like within relationships, if you're constantly making withdrawals and deposits, like within a relationship, like it's bad, right, for the actual like relationship if you are dating someone. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how can we like if we are in a relationship, if we are dating and somebody is constantly again making withdrawals and you're not feeling loved, or somebody is completing those needs or giving you what you need, how, can we bridge the gap? Should we just say, okay, no, you're not for me, and turn it around? Should we communicate that? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. Yeah. I always call that the give and take, right? I'm like, how much is that other person taking? How much are you giving? And
Okay.
it's vice versa. Like, how much are you taking? How much they're
Yeah.
like, I call
Yeah.
it the give and take. And once it becomes unbalanced, then that's where you do start to see a lot of issues in relationships. So, what I tell my people is to communicate, be assertive,
Mhm.
say, hey, what you did the other day, I really didn't like it because it made me feel, I don't know, sad or upset or
Right.
whatever the word that you want to use. And then like, this is what I need from you. You say whatever it is that you need. Is that something you can do? Because they might not be have the capacity or they might not be
Yeah.
able to.
Yeah.
Now what I have seen is people say, yeah, I can work on that. Yeah, I can do that. And they have no idea how to do it. So I always tell my clients, model it. Model like, hey, okay, this is what I want this to look like, blah, 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 blah. And then give them a chance to do it.
Yeah.
You only give so many chances. You can
Yeah.
only give so many chances. And then also, I always send them back to that, I guess, dating plan that we made, the needs and the wants and all of that.
Mhm.
Because once you get your person, that still, that you still need needs, you still have wants, and you still have red flags. And so, I always say, refer back to that. Are your needs being met by this person? And they
Yeah.
usually be like, well, they're not meeting this, or they meeting this, or they could be meeting them all, it could be meeting none, right?
Right.
And they not meeting none. I'm like, we need to reevaluate. We might
How
not
you
need
doing?
to be here. Um, but if they're meeting a good chunk of them, they're not meeting some of them, then I'm like, then you need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Again, I always say, is he the person that you want to kind of talk to with about this? Because we can always go back to the drawing boards. It's always a lot of fish in the sea. I know you got to get through the trash, get to the gym, but
Right.
it's worth it. So,
Right.
um, so it's always like, do you feel like this person can do that? They always like, well, at least I want to try. Okay, so then I tell them that whole spiel, that whole communication spiel I just said, and give them a shot, see what they can do. Some people can turn it around, some people can't, right? And then also I always suggest couples counseling for people because again, a therapist can help. I don't come see me. I hate couples counseling, but don't don't.
Okay, so I am gonna drop Melissa's link in the bottom right of this video. So, but she said she does not want to see y'all for couples counseling.
Do not want to
She
see
said,
you for couples. That is not my ministry. I
well,
have
that's
accepted that and I'm okay with it.
I
I was not
understand.
okay. I was
Yeah, yeah, because you can't, counsel everybody. Like you
listen. Listen, and it's so many people like you work with relationships. I like working with individuals. I like
said,
making people self-aware. I like building character. I like
yeah,
building self-worth. I like building that self-love. I like doing that.
right.
But with two people, it reminds me of when I worked at a school and I would do conflict resolution with kids. Okay, you stop talking. Okay, now why you hear her in the face? That's why. Okay, now you stop talking. Did you hear what she just said? She hit you in the face because of that. Now what you gotta say? You don't talk. It's like, oh.
Wait a minute, so this is like school kids. This is like school kids. It's like I'm gonna put you in this corner, or you.
I'm like, you don't have the pencil, you can't talk. And I'm like, you talk. And now get the pencil back to me. Now I hate
Oh
couples.
my gosh.
Now, I'm if my couples are listening, I love y'all.
Okay, okay. If they
Don't
listen,
give me no more. I'm done.
okay, all right, all right. Okay, well, listen. This has been a blessing, y'all. I'm gonna have to bring Melissa back. I wish we could talk more. We're over time, but I'm gonna bring her back later, and we're gonna dive into some more topics, some juicy
Yes.
topics. So hopefully, you got what you needed to how to find your person. Um, and how to basically recognize like who's for you and who's not for you. So that was the goal of this show. So listen, I'm gonna have Melissa. Oh, you have your podcast. Tell us about that, because and tell us
Yeah.
where can people find you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Facebook, Melissa Webb. I have no idea what my IG handle is. I'm supposed to be changing to Melissa Webb, so stay tuned for that. My podcast is Untoxify Your Relationship. Is UNTOXICITIFY. I made it up. So let's just start there. Um,
Fantastic.
Untoxify. Just figure out how to spell it, or you can type in Melissa Webb. It will pop up. I'm on Spotify, Apple, all the places you get podcasts. I also have a workshop coming up. I have not dropped the date yet, but it will be dropping in May. I forgot the date, but I will drop it. If you follow me on Facebook, you will see me drop it. I'm going to be doing some money off for like the first weekend, and then after that, you got to pay full price. Sorry, and so
Okay.
got it. And I'm going to do, since I'm located in St. Louis, I'm going to do it in St. Louis, and I'm going to try to do it virtually at the same time. Don't know how to work Zoom. I'm gonna figure it out. We're gonna be up in there. So if you
Yes.
want to come virtually, you can. And if you're in St. Louis, go ahead and see me. I'm also a therapist, so I see people in Georgia. So I know you're in Atlanta. I also see people in Missouri and Illinois. So that's that.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for
No
joining
problem.
us today. I appreciate you. Listen, y'all. May you always be believing so that you can always be receiving. And may you always let love be your guide in life today, forever, and always. I love you guys. See you next time. Bye. Thank you, Melissa.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for listening. Go ahead and share this episode with your family and friends. Don't forget to check out the quiz to figure out what your toxic trait is. The link is in the show notes. Thank you, and see you next time.